Hi, everybody. Michael Ogden here, Executive Editor with Credit Union Times. Thanks for joining us online and on social media. On our show today is Alan Bergstrom. He is the Chief Marketing Officer with Community Choice Credit Union. Alan, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you today, Michael?
Very good. Thank you. We are talking about looking ahead at 2017 and marketing ideas, marketing trends that other marketers in the credit union industry maybe need to be thinking about to connect with their members. So first, let's take a really quick look back at 2016. What happened with 2016 with you all? What were some of the challenges that you were seeing and some of the successes?
I think 2016 for us was a year of adjusting our marketing mix. We had been pretty heavily in traditional media, print, and the usual media mix. In 2016, we moved a lot more heavily into digital. We continued to move into that space as well. Social media was an expansion for us, pretty significant expansion for us in 2016 as well. And we even threw in a little bit of local cable TV as well to the mix.
Okay. All right. So let's take a look at 2017. It seems like the ground is shaking underneath us all about how to connect, more efficiently. We got to find our audiences. That's a challenge on our end, and I'm sure it's a challenge on the marketing side. So what are you looking at 2017 as being in the marketing space out there?
I think it's important to understand member behavior. Member behavior sometimes is pretty for credit unions, particularly smaller credit unions, to spend a lot of time and energy as well as resources trying to understand member behavior. But there are some key, I think, generalities that we can all kind of migrate to. And number one is that people are on the internet. I mean, they're on the internet. They continue to spend more time, whether it's on their smartphones or on tablets. We've got to be where they are. So in order to get seen, we've got to be more digital. We have to be pretty adept at having a variety of different messages and communications that are going to get their attention.
Right.
It's about what are people going to click on? How much time do they have? What is going to catch their attention as they're perusing and navigating the internet these days? And you're going to see a lot more digital marketing, obviously, because that's a media where, people are hanging out.
Yeah.
So it's even more important to have a message that's targeted, a message that's focused, and a message that's going to cut through the clutter. Probably even more important than traditional media. You can traditional media, print, whatever. You can flip through pages, and different people spend different amount of time. But
Tell
on
me
the internet,
about it.
yeah, I mean, it's it's fast. It's
Right.
we're used to just clicking through things, and
Right.
so if you're going to be seen, it's got to be something that stands out. So the traditional messages that we've used in traditional media, you just can't take that same message necessarily and put it in the digital space. It's got to be reworked so that it's grabbing their attention, and it's compelling enough to get them to click.
Okay. So, some of the trends that I've been seeing over the years from my background in digital and social has been one, kind of native advertising, like you were talking about, going where your audience is. Is that an option credit union marketers out there should be looking at? Is that something you're looking at?
Absolutely. It depends on, unfortunately, the type of resources, the type of talent that a lot of credit unions have, or that they can
Right.
access. Larger credit unions obviously may have the ability to do that with a staff member on their marketing team.
Yeah.
I think for most credit unions, they're going to have to look outside. They're going to have to look to a digital agency to help them with that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it's important that they do that, because that's where members are. And, we can't use and dominate the traditional media when our members are moving into the digital space. So I think it's a function, Michael, of how much resources credit unions have and where they go to get the talent for them to be able to do that and enter that space.
Okay, so you do kind of think if you do have the resources, again, I guess we're looking at a perfect world which never exists.
Right.
But looking at the resources and assets that the credit unions have available to them as far as people, money, talent, technology.
Right.
And to the technology side, are you looking at in 2017 as live streaming being any sort of strategy for you on the social
Um,
and even online?
well, online, I mean, we've moved into the online chat space
Yeah.
from our site, so we have that capability that's just being introduced today. Um, Live streaming, video chat, we aren't there yet. It's just audio.
Yeah.
But at least having the ability to connect, instantly to somebody from the credit union, I think is important.
So to that, are you talking about chat bots?
We are, we are.
What do
And
you think of that?
I think it's probably a way to get into that space. It's not the most sophisticated, but it's an opportunity to be able to connect in real time with members. It's another option besides just having a telephone conversation with somebody.
Right.
So
But you think it's a useful tool?
I do absolutely. And for some credit unions, I think migrating to video is going to be important for us. Video is something that we'll probably look at some point in 2017. But we just want to be able to have a live opportunity to interact with our members according to their time frame, according to their schedule.
So not to clutter the world in technology and feeling like you're always behind and things like that for marketers out there, what would you say would be a good focus for 2017 in marketing to members out there?
I come at it from a couple of different perspectives. I think the message is important.
Okay.
What the message is saying. And we've had a pretty good run over the past 2 years, since I've been here anyway, in really focusing on the advantages and the real differences that are meaningful to members about credit unions, our credit union in particular, obviously,
Yeah.
Versus banks. And I'll deviate here for a minute. A couple of years ago, when I sat down with our agency, I said, we've got to do something that cuts through the clutter. And I think there are too many people that really don't understand the advantages, the benefits, and the differences that credit unions offer over banks,
Sure.
other than maybe cheap car loans. And we need to find a way to get that message out, that message in front of people, so they at least start to pay attention to us and consider us. So on April Fool's Day of 2015, we took this message about, if people think that they're getting the best deal that they can get from their bank, then they're being fooled. So, April Fool's Day was appropriate for us to launch that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had a message that, basically said, you probably lost your shirt at the bank through high fees and high interest rates and things of that nature. Well, we got your shirt back for you. So we found your shirt was the theme of that campaign.
Okay, good, because I was afraid a lot of people were going to be walking around without their shirts on. So.
Well, actually, there were a few walking around without their shirts on the morning of April Fool's Day at a couple of coffee shops where we launched this, just for
April
in
Michigan. Yikes! Okay.
It was cold. It was a cold morning, I must admit. I wasn't one of them without the shirt. Paid actors, but I think we have to continue to point out the differences. It can't just be a message about the lower interest rate on our products and services,
sure.
Or reduced fees. It's we're fundamentally different than banks, and I think people have to understand that. I think it's particularly important to millennials. To kind of get back to your question, for us, I think focusing more on millennials and understanding how we can message and market to them in a way that gets their attention, even if it's a fleeting moment, gets them to think about, hey, maybe there is something that's better out there for me. And one of the ideas that we've got, I'll share with you, is that generation, that group, they don't like to be owned by anybody. They're very independent minded. They want to do things their way. So the idea is, are you owned by your bank? don't be owned at a credit union. In fact, if you want to flip the ownership analogy, it's, you own the credit union. So don't be owned by your bank, and, instead come to the credit union where you're an owner, actually, of your financial institution. So it's a quick, brief message like that allows us then to create the platform to talk about all those other benefits and differences that credit unions have over banks.
So it does sound like, you're looking at it in 2017, it does sound like, it's still that focus on the differentiation between credit unions and banks, and finding your audience, understanding the behaviors of your members, and then also on the millennials. Any other things you would point out to other marketing experts in the credit union space to maybe keep an eye out for in this new year?
I think it's also a little bit of trying different things. So one of the things that we're dipping our toe in the water for 2017 is doing some movie theater advertising. So, as people come in, patrons they're there to watch a movie, come in and they're sitting and they're waiting for the trailers of the new movies to start. Oftentimes, there's an opportunity for advertisers to be on that space.
Right.
It's, you've got a captive audience, obviously, and if the message is right based on, what they're there to view, I think there's a very inexpensive opportunity for credit unions to get in front of a captive audience like that with a compelling message. So we're trying different things. That's just one of several different things.
Well, I think that's an interesting thing, and I want to ask really quick: have you considered platforms? If you're going to go the movie theater route, have you considered relatively inexpensive platforms such as Hulu?
We really haven't looked at Hulu much, but it's probably on the radar screen a little bit down in terms of our priorities. But it is, you're right. It is things like that are different, that the new generation, I don't say new generation, I guess millennials aren't that new, but different generations, are using non-traditional media to either entertain themselves or inform themselves, and credit unions need to be there.
All right. Alan, anything else you want to point out about what you're looking at for 2017? What others should keep in mind in marketing to members?
I think for a long time, I'll step out of the marketing space briefly.
All right.
And talk a little bit about, branches, or we call them member centers here in Michigan at our credit union. And, there's a lot of talk about our, branch is dead. And yes, they're dead, but as members and the transactions and the way they interact with the credit union, their institution, is changing. It's moving more to an online environment. I think the role of the member center or the branch is changing. So, we're trying to adapt to have those brick and mortar facilities being used more as an advisory kind of a function. So as members come in, and they may still come in to transact, but it's using that to then develop a dialogue and a conversation about other products and services that they may need, where the credit union can truly save them money. Over, where they may have an auto loan, at a higher interest rate somewhere else, or a different product or service from another financial institution, where the credit union can actually save them money.
Interesting point. That is Alan Bergstrom. He is Chief Marketing Officer with Community Choice Credit Union. Alan, thank you so much for being on the show today and bringing up some very nice points about what to look forward to in 2017 as far as marketing to members and some of the trends we'll watch. We're going to connect with you later on as 2017 kind of gets moving along, and check in with you, see how things are going, if that's all right.
Absolutely. I look forward to it. And Michael, thanks for having me on the show.
All right. Alan, Happy New Year. Thank you.
Same to you too, Michael.